Or, "Oh, Joey, you don't understand. Like, we've got to hire people and then we want to get them up to speed as quickly as possible." No, I get it. But let's be candid. No new hire is going to be ready to go on day two for any
Yeah.
job.
Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman. Joining me today is a repeat rock star. I'm super excited to have him back. He's an entrepreneur, he's a speaker, he's the author of Never Lose a Customer Again and Never Lose an Employee Again. Joey Coleman, thanks for coming back.
Kirby, it is my pleasure to be back. Thanks so much for the kind invitation. It's great to get a chance to reconnect.
Yeah, it was cool just to chat with you, chat with you before we started recording. So, where I got to know you was you were speaking at an event in our industry, SKUCon, and you were talking about the idea of never lose a customer again. And then you also have a book now that's Never Lose an Employee Again, which caught my attention. So, what inspired you to shift that focus and write that?
Well, what's interesting, Kirby, is, and by the way, big shout out to SKUCon. Love those guys. Love the
Yeah,
event. So
yeah,
much fun. As a guy who came up when I first started in business in the promotional product space, was such a delightful event. They
yeah.
throw
They
a
do it right.
remarkable gathering. Yeah, they really do. I had been in the customer experience space for about, that would be 5 minutes before I realized that you can't have a great customer experience if you don't have amazing team members to help
Yeah,
deliver that experience. The
right.
challenge was in almost every business I've ever come across, customer experience and employee experience are the responsibility and purview of two completely different departments with completely different people. There's very little overlap. So if you were to write a book or give a speech on customer experience and employee experience, you need to have different people in the room. It's not the same people delivering on both of those. So I decided to write the first book all about customer experience because here's what I know to be true. Everyone has customers. Not everyone has employees,
Great point.
right?
Great point.
And
Yeah.
so we decided to write the first book first. Well, once that came out, the number of conversations I would have with audiences after my speech or with clients that I was doing consulting engagements with was, Joey, I've bought into the concepts in this book. How do I get my team to buy into the concepts in this book without potentially having to have them read the book, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
most folks don't like a homework assignment.
100%.
So what we did is we started to look at, well, what is going on in the employee experience that contributes to a great customer experience and vice versa? And what we found is that the same journey that a customer goes through is being gone through by an employee, right? When we onboard a new customer, it's a very similar process, or at least it could and should be,
Yeah,
to
right.
onboarding a new hire. And yet, most businesses approach these as two totally separate things with totally different teams. And it's like, folks, humans are humans are humans. If it's about getting people on board with your culture, your philosophy, your way of operating, your cadence of communication, whether that's doing that with a customer or doing it with an employee, we can probably find some methods and frameworks that work for both, which
Yeah.
that's what we did.
Yeah. And again, obviously, if you can create sort of the foundation that the communication that comes from your employees is consistent because it should be, then that would create a better customer experience anyway. So yeah,
100%.
I love that. I love that. So what's like, and again, maybe there's not one, but I always try to kind of narrow things down. Like, what's the biggest mistake that you see companies making when it comes to onboarding and retaining great employees?
Yeah, I would say all of the mistakes that I characterize in the book, and for context, there's over 50 case studies from all 7 continents in the book. So there's a lot of different examples and a lot of
Yeah.
different things to consider. But if we look at the thread that ties all of them together, it's that most employers care deeply about their employees and yet spend very little time getting their employees up to speed. So many employers just kind of push them in the deep end and are like, hey, figure it out as you go. Most businesses lack a structured, planned process for taking someone from being a prospective candidate that's thinking about applying all the way up to the point where they're a raving fan who's staying with your organization long term, highly engaged, highly committed. And so what we did is we looked at the common thread being most organizations aren't making the investments over time into effectively onboarding a new hire. They're like, oh, we have a day of orientation. Okay, great. You had a whole day. Do you want them to
Yeah.
stay longer than a day? We might want to spend a little more time. Or, oh, Joey, you don't understand. Like, we've got to hire people and then we want to get them up to speed as quickly as possible. No, I get it. But let's be candid. No new hire is going to be ready to go on day two for any
Yeah.
job in the
Right.
history of the world. This
Yeah.
isn't a commentary on the employee. This isn't a commentary on the employer. This is a commentary on the complexity of the world of work and what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been married for many, many years, and I'm not sure I'm fully trained yet.
Oh,
So,
I know for a fact I'm not. We're coming up on 15 years of marriage, and my wife would tell you, I think, that, I still have plenty of growth opportunity.
that's right. I have more orientation
Yes.
that needs work. Yeah. So, in your book, you lay out 8 distinct phases of the employee journey, and obviously, I want them to check out the book, so we want to go through all of them. But I'm curious, which one of these 8 do you think that organizations are overlooking the most often, and why?
Yeah, I would say, and you're spot on, Kirby. The 8 phases, these are the phases of the employee journey that an employee has the potential to go through. They may not go through all 8, especially if you're not consciously and intentionally trying to move them from one phase to the next. But I would say there are 2 that show up most often in organizations as being problematic. And for everybody who's joining us and listening in, give a thought as to if your organization is struggling with these, it may be struggling with others as well. The first one is what I like to call the affirm phase. So the affirm phase begins the moment a new hire accepts their job, and it lasts until their first day when they actually start on the job. Now, in a customer context, we call this buyer's
Buyer's
remorse,
remorse.
right? In an employment context, I call it new hires remorse. It's the exact same scientifically proven fear, doubt, and uncertainty that comes right after we make a decision. And in a new hire situation, they might say, oh my gosh, I accepted the job, but maybe I should have negotiated for a better salary, or maybe I should have negotiated for more time off, or, I was interviewing in a lot of places and I hadn't heard back from those 2 other places. And what if they would have made an offer? Then I could have gotten these to go again. But I had to accept this one because I was afraid that if I didn't accept it, I might lose it. And by the way, now that I think about it, the people that I interviewed with aren't the people that I'm going to be working with. They were from HR. I'm going to be working in a completely different department. Who am I even going to be working with? And all of this fear and doubt and uncertainty in most new hires is happening in a vacuum where there is no communication from the organization that just hired them. The organization hires them, says, hey, we'd love to extend a job offer to you, Kirby. You say, yes, I'd like to accept. They say, great. When would you like to start? You say, I'd love to start on the 15th of next month. And they say, great, we'll see you on the 15th. And then cue tumbleweed. Nothing happens between now and then other than your fear, doubt, and uncertainty in the new hire's remorse. So in that phase, we want to affirm their choice. We want to communicate with them in a way that lets them know we're excited that they said yes. We're ready for them to show up, and we are eager for them to begin the next chapter of their career.
Man, I
Okay.
love that.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
that's the place where we often have the biggest struggle. We also have huge struggle in the 5th phase in the journey, which I call
Okay.
the acclimate phase.
Okay.
Now, the acclimate phase begins on the 2nd day on the job. Now, some of
Mm,
you are doing the math and you're going, wait a second, Joey, if the affirm phase was the 3rd phase and the acclimate phase is the 5th phase, what's the 4th phase? Well, the 4th phase is the activate phase. That's literally the first day on the job. It only lasts 1 day. But when we go to the acclimate phase that starts on the 2nd day of the job, it lasts for weeks or even months as a new hire gets acclimated to your way of doing business. Now, Kirby, in almost every organization on the planet, there is someone who's looking out for the new hire on day 1, making sure they're there. They welcome them in. Oh, let's get you your desk. Let's get your phone. Let's set you up on email, whatever may happen in your business.
right.
Most organizations don't have anyone who's responsible for day 2 or day 5 or day 7 or day 13 or day 27 or day 39.
Yep.
What are all the interactions that are happening after they start that are getting this new hire acclimated to your way of doing business, your cadence of communication? What is the role they're going to play in your organization? What are the requirements of the job? What are their responsibilities? What are the relationships that they're going to need to maintain within the organization? Again, going back to our swimming pool analogy, so many employers have a great first day and then just kind of are like, okay, well, just start working with your team and it's going to be great. We'll see you at your 90-day review. That's like, where is the onboarding? Where is the continued education? In the acclimate phase, you need to remember you need to hold a new hire's hand as they get acclimated to your way of doing business.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's a great I think most organizations I know think they're doing it right, but they're just it's like they haven't gone through this process. So I love that. I love that. Okay, final question for you. One of the themes that stood out to me was the idea of designing an intentional employee experience. I love that. So how do you connect the employee experience with the customer experience, and why do you think leaders should care about
Yeah, well, we can't, most organizations, I think, would agree that if we have a good client experience, our clients will keep coming back for more. They'll keep spending money with us, they'll stay clients long term. Ironically enough, the same holds true that if we create a good employee
that?
experience, they'll keep coming to work and they'll stay with us long term. So these things should not be as antithetical as they are, right? I mean, they
Right.
go hand in hand together. It's also the case that if you have a remarkable employee experience, if your employees love coming to work, if they feel seen, they feel valued, they feel appreciated, they feel bought into what you're doing, they're going to deliver better experiences for your customers,
Of course, yeah.
which is going to make your customers like doing business with you more, which is going to bring more revenue back to your company, which is going to allow you to pay your people more and to have more resources and to grow your team. So these things really have a symbiotic relationship. They feed on each other. The better the customer experience, the better the employee experience. If the employee experience goes down, chances are good the customer experience is going to go down. So if you care about your business being profitable, if you care about your business being the kind of place where people like coming to work, if you care about your business being the kind of place where customers like to spend their hard earned money, it's probably a smart thing for you to care about both the customer experience and the employee experience with equal weight.
Well, yeah, and I would add, if you care about wanting to come to work yourself.
Very true. Very true. We can make this a lot more self centered and just say, do you like dealing with the people you work with? Do you like dealing with customers? If the answer is no, let's do something about it. Let's be
Yeah.
more intentional.
I love this. So, Joey, this is great, and I want people to get a chance to check this out. So, where can people find more information about you, but the book in
Yes.
particular?
So the book is called Never Lose an Employee Again, and it's available wherever you like to get your books in whatever format works for you. So if you're the kind of person that likes to read a hardcover so you can take notes in the margin, we've got a hardcover. If you like to read on your Kindle so you can highlight your little passages, we've got it available as an ebook. If you've enjoyed the sound of my voice in our conversation today, I actually narrate the audiobook. So I will read the book to you. And again, everywhere from Amazon to your local indie bookstore, it's available in whatever format works for you. If folks want to dive deeper into the conversation, the best place to find me is on my website, joeycoleman.com. That's Joey, like a baby kangaroo or a 5-year-old, Coleman, Coleman, like the camping equipment, but no relation. Joeycoleman.com. There you can find information about my speeches. You can find information about keeping your employees, keeping your customers, the books, workshops, all kinds of things that you can do to really focus in on the kind of experiences you're creating for either your customers or employees and making those so remarkable that they'll keep coming back for more.
That's awesome. Joey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Every single time we have a conversation, I leave energized and enlightened. So thank you. I really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Kirby. My pleasure. And thanks to everybody for listening in. Keep being remarkable. It's worth it. It makes life more fun. It makes going to work more fun. It makes dealing with other humans more fun. It's worth the investment of effort.
Right on. That's a great way to end it. So that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.